Hi, my name is Joe Miller from More Than Cake, and I wanted to give you a first look at the brand new Logos 5.0 for Mac. So when Logos opens up, the first thing you notice is the home page is brand new setup. No longer is there a bar that runs across the top. Now it's along the left-hand side, and it has a much fresher, cleaner look. The graphics are far superior to what they were in 4. Everything is a lot crisper and cleaner. One of the important things to note is they finally figured out the issue with font scaling, and so now all of the fonts in the different panels and guides all match your font setting in the settings panel. So that's a huge improvement, especially for those of us that have some visual challenges. So beyond the fresh new look and the redesigned icons, let's look at a few of the other items that have changed. First, you'll notice many of the menu items have been moved down here next to the command bar. Some of that has been rearranged. Not a huge adjustment to make, but it does seem to clean things up a little bit. Now let's look through a few of these specific details that have changed. First thing you notice when you open your library is right next to the search box there is a little bit of blue text. When I click on that, I notice something that's really helpful. I can now filter my library based on all of my collections that I have created. So if I want to have all my Bibles or all my journals or some very other specific collections that I have created, now I can do that right from the library, which is a huge help to those of us with some larger libraries. That's the biggest improvement I've seen so far on the libraries. Next, let's look at the search options. And the first thing you notice is that now there are a lot of help items right in the search. These give you information on how to search for single words, all kinds of words put together in a variety of orders. All of this information used to be hidden in a help file before. Now it's right there. So when you want to do a basic search or a Bible search, all of these options are available right there for you to look through and review. This is a huge help because I know some of them after a lot of years of using, but I sometimes forget some of these options. So having that available when I begin a search is a huge help there as well. Now let's look at some of these menus and how they've changed. First, notice in the Documents menu, the big thing is that it's a lot cleaner, a lot easier to look at, and I can see my existing documents here by the name, type, and date that it was created. And along the left, I can see all of my types of documents. Now, the one thing that is different, that is brand new, actually was introduced late in Logos 4, is this idea of a word list. So what is word list? This is a pretty powerful tool, and I'll have a video on this in the future, how I recommend people use this. But right now, let's just say I want to create a word list on all the Greek words used in 1 Timothy, let's just say chapter 1. Now Logos creates this word list, and notice right away, there is now Greek pronunciation within this pane. Before this was missing. This was in the Windows version, but not in the Mac. But now these pronunciations
Ego.
are now available directly and visually for Mac users. But here's the cool part. I can now use Avery labels and create flashcards with all of my Greek words. So if you're a student and you need to create some flashcards for Greek classes, this is great. All I have to do is select the type of cardstock I have and then print that right out. Phenomenal use and help. Great improvement on Logos 5. If I go to the Guides menu, again, nice new layout. The graphics are much crisper, much cleaner, much more visually appealing. I notice first that I can now search my different passage guides that I've used in the past. There's the name, the type, and the word or the reference that I use to search or create that passage guide. So that's kind of helpful if I want to redo a passage guide on a particular exegetical guide or a Bible word study that I've done before. All that's available to me. Very easy to find and recreate. Notice that Logos has created a few new ones in addition to the exegetical and Bible study. They have a sermon starter guide and a topical guide. These just take advantage of some of the new elements that Logos has introduced in verse 5. I won't really show much of that now, but those might be helpful to some folks. And then below that, of course, is a nice listing of all the custom guides that I have created for my own use. So now let me go to Tools, open this up, and it's organized a little more cleanly. Again, a good job on the design team on that. But one of the first things that come out is that there's no longer a separate people, places, and things. All that has been organized into one item called biblical facts or Bible facts. So if I click on that, the last item I searched comes up for me. But let me search for a new item. Let's say Bethel. And you'll notice now I get a lot of options here. I can have Bethel as in the place north of Jerusalem. I can have specific references to Bethel throughout the scripture. I have Bethel the prophet down here. So there's all these different options that come available. All I have to do is pick on the one I want, and Logos will do the search as it has in the past, but it just organizes the information a little better, and it makes it a little cleaner for me to find the information I want. I'll say at this point, I've also noticed that on my 2007 MacBook Pro, I have noticed significant speed increases in the areas of notes and searching. All of this has had tremendous improvement in Logos 5, so I've been very pleased to see these improvements. It makes it far more pleasant to use right now, so I'm very excited to see that progress has been made in Logos 5. I'll close that and go back to tools. Now here's the two new areas that I think are interesting. There's a Bible Sense lexicon. To be honest, I haven't played with this a lot yet. I'm not sure that it gives me anything more than I could already do in a Bible word study. So maybe I'm missing something right now. I'm not too excited about this feature. I'm not sure what it does different for me that I can't already do again in a Bible word study, but I'll play with that, or maybe somebody else will do a video that shows off really the power of this feature. But right now, I haven't really found a good use for it. But now probably the best improvement is this area of timelines. So this is kind of exciting. It gives you a timeline of all these historic events as they relate to Bible events. But watch what happens if I click on one of these words. Now, in this case, the life of Judah the patriarch, I click on that, and Logos is going to do a search for anything in my library that's going to give me information about that. So here it's searched through all my resources, and I can find out what the life of Judah the patriarch is all about. Let's look at another one. If I go here to the fire in Rome, well, I say, well, what is that all about? What happened in the fire of Rome? Again, I click on it, and now I have hyperlinks to all of my resources. If I float over, I can just get that summary information from a variety of dictionaries or other resources that do that. If I didn't find the information that I want there, I can click more, and Logos will do a search for my library specifically to this event in history. So this is a wonderful tool for research and study, and it gives me direct access and a timeline to a lot of the events I want to see. And before I close out, let me just do one last thing. I go back to Documents menu, and here I found something interesting. This is the Share Documents feature. When I click on that little item to share documents, Logos takes me to my account on a website where also my information is available to me of all the notes or documents I've created. But now watch this. This action button allows me to publish this, which allows people to get copies of the document. I can collaborate. I could work with a group of people on creating a more thorough document. I could duplicate it, delete it, so I can control all these settings of my documents and allow others to work in a public setting or even in a private collaborative effort with these documents to make them better, to make them more useful to me. So actually this is pretty great, this idea of document sharing, and it looks like I might be able to make some great use of this, especially again in an academic setting with some of my students. I could see a lot of value with this at the church level if I'm doing a small group study with some people and they're all on Logos. So there's a lot of helpful items here. So with that, I'll just close out. Again, this is just a quick first look at Logos 5 for Mac, and I hope to discover a lot more cool stuff as I take more time to search. Drop me a line if you find a feature that you think is great that I missed or you'd like to see explained. You can find me over at www.morethancake.org.